Yeah, hello YouTube. Okay, here we go. Today what we're going to do, we're going to get into our very first section in writing and solving equations by talking about what an equation is, how to write one, and what the pieces of it are. So offhand, anybody want to give a shot at what an equation is? Aisha? Okay, I like where you're going. A problem that's not solved. Victoria? One problem with numbers? Does it have to only be numbers? What else do I see in an equation?
Variables.
Can have variables. Gabe? It can be answered normally with an equation.
An equal sign.
Thank you. That's the real missing piece that I want to make sure someone said. So our verbal definition is really two or more expressions with at least one operation comma separated by an equal sign. So what does that look like using numerical or algebraic? So numerically, I could say something like 5 plus 8 equals 13. That is an equation. Has an expression with an operation. The expression on the other side is simplified to one term. That's an equation. I can also do this algebraically. Say, for example, we could say 4a plus 12 equals 24. So I can also use variables, but here we have an expression.
How is it 24?
Well, it depends on what a is.
Then it would be, no.
In this case, we could actually solve for a, and that's what we'll get to. We'll do a little bit of this today, but that's where we're focused on this standard, is getting to where you're able to solve something like that to figure out what a is. Okay? Now, how does this differ from an expression? What is an expression? We just spent 5 lessons on that, so hopefully you guys have an idea. Michael?
You have the variables but no.
Big key, no equal sign. So we're looking at, and we just used this yesterday, so I'm going to use that, 2 or more terms. That includes either with a variable or just numbers, with an operation, but no equal sign. And that's the biggest difference. In an expression, unless they tell me what a variable is, there's no way I can figure it out. In an equation, because I now have a standard of equality, I could actually solve for it. So that's our big difference between an expression or an equation. So a couple options for examples of an expression would be stuff like 8 plus 6. That could actually be an expression without numbers. Now that one technically you could solve, but an algebraic one, there's no way. 5a plus 4, there's an infinite number of possibilities depending on what a is. And that's why having that equal sign can help us out so much. Make sense so far, guys? So, looking at these, how are an equation and expression similar? What do you see the same between them, Presley?
They both can have variables.
Okay, both can have variables. Anything else? Michael?
They both can have numbers.
They both can have numbers. Is there something else you're going to add? What?
Yes, or variables.
We already have the variables.
And they both can have addition or subtraction and multiplication or division.
What do we call those? What's the generic term? Operations. And operations. Okay? So all three of those parts can be the same. We can have numbers, we can have variables, we can have operations. What do you see that is different?
No equal sign.
Good, Janine. The equal sign. That is the difference.
Being able to solve.
Being able to solve. Technically, some of, like if it's a numerical expression, those you could solve. Okay? But to be able to solve a algebraic one, we must have the equal sign. Now, to determine values and make equations true. This was interesting on the pretest because your first two questions, we asked you to determine if the statements being made were true or false. And unfortunately, that's where the directions ended after the first two. But there were a lot of you that did that for the rest of the sheet. So if you didn't understand that piece, that's why a lot of you are sitting over here with me today. But that's okay, because we're going to help you understand exactly what we were meaning on that. So when I replace a variable with a value that results in a true sentence, what do you think we'd call it? I would, okay? I what? Is that you, Victoria? What did you say? Solved. I solved the equation. Too bad, Gabe. I thought you had the right answer. I didn't know it wasn't you. That value for the variable is called the solution of the equation. Why? Because it makes it true. So, I feel kind of squeamish on this, but I understand why. We're going to teach you these equations initially with very easy ones that you can solve mentally. Two reasons I don't like that. Number one, you don't show your work. Number two, a lot of you get into the habit of saying, oh, I don't have to do anything else because I can just solve these mentally. Realize we're giving you the initial steps, guys, because it's going to get a lot harder. If you don't do what I'm asking at the start when it's easy, you're going to get really lost once these get harder. So please, I'm going to show you a lot of things that you're going to be going, why are you making me do all that? There is a reason for it. So please show some trust in me that you understand there is more coming after this. Yes, Gabe?
Why do we always have to show it?
Because it's the only way I can help you. If you're not showing your work and I'm looking at it and I can't figure out what you did, how do I help you with that? But if you show your work, literally normally within 30 seconds, even in a majorly long problem, I can find your error if I can see your work. And then I can help you understand where you're getting things wrong. If you understand where you're getting it wrong, easier to correct. That's why you show your work. Okay, our first one. We have 2 plus some number that's going to equal up 10. So because it's easy, most of you can say, what number would I put in instead of the x? Presley? 8. So then I would say that 10 is 10. Is that true? Does 10 equal 10?
No.
Yes, 10 equals 10. So that means that the solution to the equation is x equals 8. Because that was the value that I substituted in to make the equation true. Make sense?
Yes.
Michael, can you do me a favor and put all those away? We don't need those today. Now let's look at our next one. Now I've got 18 is 6 times some number. What number would I multiply by 6 to get 18? Sienna? 3. So if I did that, 18 equals 18. So the solution to the equation is x equals 3. Does that make sense, guys?
I get it.
Good. That's really what we're going to focus on today, is setting up our equation is really our big focus today. But then also, in most cases, trying to figure out what our solution would be that makes it a true statement. Here's one that's going to drive a lot of you crazy. Apologize up front, but we're going to do it. This is, and I want you to write this in. This is what we call a guess and check. I'm not a huge fan of this method, but it is a valid mathematical method for finding an answer. A lot of it does depend on your prior knowledge. But if you can look at a problem and say, oh, it's probably going to be about this, you can put a number in, check to see if it makes it a true statement. Now, in this case, they're telling us 3 values. So we're going to check all 3 of them, whether we get the answer or not, so that you understand how the method works. The guess and check method basically says, if I have 4, 5, or 6 instead of C, which one of these makes it true? So all we're going to do is substitute those values in one by one till we find a true sentence. And for today's work, we're going to do it even beyond the true sentence, just to get into the habit of putting the numbers in. So what I'm saying is, now I'm going to say C is 4. So I do 4 plus 7 equals 13. Does 11 equal 13?
No.
No, so that's false. That's a false statement.
Where did you get 11 from?
What's 4 plus 7?
11.
So then I'm going to do my next guess, which is the 5. 5 plus 7 equals 13. 5 plus 7 is 12. Does 12 equal 13?
No.
That is also a false statement, so we can cross that one out. Then I do my third one. Why are you not writing this down, Aiden?
Oh.
If I'm writing, you should be writing, right? Then I check my third one, which is 6. I say 6 plus 7 equals 13. Does 13 equal 13?
Yes.
Yes, that's a true statement, so I put a little check showing that it's true. So my solution is C equals 6. In other words, what value of C did I put in that gave me a true statement? Easy enough, right? Yes, Lily? Yes. Because you need to be able to substitute values in and understand when you get to the correct answer. Yes. Why? Oh, I'm glad you asked, Lily. Thank you for being my guinea pig. Here is why. Because eventually we're going to say that 2 plus 2.5 equals x plus 3.2. What's x?
Oh, that's hard. 2.5 equals x plus 3.2?
The question is, why do I have to show this work when it's so easy? The equation question is 2.5 equals x plus 3.2. So what's x? Yes, Sienna.
7.
What?
0.7.
Oh, 0.7 plus 3.2 is 3.9. 3.9 equals 2.5?
No.
But you can't do that because you need
Wait.
subtraction.
You need a check. No. You need a negative number.
Thank you, Michael.
You need a what?
You need a what?
I know you don't. That's why you got to take all these steps. Because, guys, if you will trust me and follow the steps that I'm going to show you, including doing the stuff that's really easy for you now, it will make this become easy. That's why, Lily. So basically I'm saying, trust me, there's a reason that I'm having you do it all, because it's going to make you more confident as we move forward to be able to solve the harder things. So, negative what? Negative 7/10?
Oh, I was worried about 7.
Yeah, that sounds right. I can't remember the numbers I put up there now because I just made them up. So our next one. This one they didn't tell us, so Lily, this should be a good one for you. Because now they didn't tell me a bunch I have to put in. I can just make my own guess. So what number would I take away from 9 to get 2? Chance? 7. Let's check it. So 9 minus 7 equals 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. Does 2 equal 2? Check. So that means the solution is x equals 7. That was the value that I put in to make a true statement. Does that make sense to everybody? Presley?
So, I know you said we can make up our own numbers, but do we have to make like 3, or can we just do 3?
If you've got a good guess, you can do it in 1. But that's the importance of this step right here. Put it in, substitute the value in, make sure that you get a true statement. If you get a true statement, then you guess correctly. That's why it's called guess and check, not just guess. Okay? Our next one, we have a good old word problem. The difference between an ostrich's speed and a chicken's speed is 31 miles per hour. An ostrich can run at a speed of 40 miles per hour, Use your prior knowledge to solve. And they gave us an equation for it. 40 minus C equals 31. To find C, the speed a chicken can run. Marking your text, guys, really can help you immensely on these things. So they gave us this equation, 40 minus C equals 31. Chance, you think you know what it would be? 9. So let's try it. Go ahead. So we'll try 40 minus 9 equals 31. 40 minus 9 is 31. Does that equal 31? Yes. So the solution, put my check, is C equals 9. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, another one. Sorry, Lily. You got to try all 3 of them.
Oh.
They gave us 3. We can try 3. The big deal, guys, these are super easy. It's not going to take you long to do. So literally, all I'm going to do is put those 3 numbers in. So I'm going to say 4 times 2 equals 16. Does 8 equal 16? Nope, so that's false. 4 times 3 equals 16. Does 12 equal 16? Nope, that's false. 4 times 4 equals 16. Does 16 equal 16? Check. So I know that n equals 4. There's my solution. Aiden, why are you not writing any of this down, buddy? Are you just having a bad day today? Aiden? Did it take us a long time to do all those checks? No. And that's the advantage of it, guys. Get used to doing it because I want you to see it's not hard to do these checks, but it really is vital to make sure you're getting the correct answer.
What number is
So now we're going to do a solve. What one?
n equals
4. Because when I put 4 in, I got my true value. Solve. 24 divided by W equals 8. Who can write this equation for me? Chance? Good. W equals 8. There's our equation. So you're saying 3 is where I should do my guess? So 24 divided by 3 equals 8. Does 8 equal 8?
Yes.
Check. So W equaled 3. It is, but we're about to make it a little bit harder for you. Remember, Victoria, we start with baby steps so that we can get to our final. Okay, go ahead and turn the page.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't prepared.
No, this isn't the hard part.
This did not look hard.
I wasn't prepared
Yeah.
for this.
What's this?
So what they've done here, guys, we've given you an equation, excuse me, and we've given you 3 options to check. Even if you find the true answer, please check all 3 of them. Lily? Okay? Thank you. I'll give you guys, it shouldn't take you more than 7 minutes. You should be able to do all these. The nice thing here is you get to solve mentally. So just tell me what you find and do your guess and check on those.
Got it.
Guys, quiet down. So our next one, now we're substituting these values in. 14 minus, 9. Guys, please stop talking. Equals 3. I check. 5 equals 3. That's false. We cross it out. 14 minus 10 equals 3. 4 equals 3. That's false. I cross it out. 14 minus 11 equals 3. 3 equals 3. There's my check, so I know M equals 11. Again, I know I have found my solution once I find my true statement. Our next one, here's our values. So we're going to do 2 times 12 equals 24. 24 equals 24. Check. There's my true value. Aiden, stop with the ruler. So I know that n equals 12. there's my solution. I can still check the other two real quick. 2 times 13 equals 24. 26 equals 24. That's false. We'll cross it out. 2 times 14 equals 24. 28 equals 24. That is also false. We'll cross it out.
Got it.
Yes, hey, baby.
You put 2 times 13 equals 24 and 2 times 14.
No, I said 26.
But no, like when they're not the equation.
Right. Because that was my equation.
Oh, okay. That's confusing.
So all I'm doing is substituting the values they gave me to guess and check.
Okay.
Technically, I don't need to do those other two because I found my true answer on the first one. But I just want to see you guys to see this process.
Okay.
So our next one, they gave us 3 values again. So we're going to start. 32 divided by 4 equals 9. Does 8 equal 9? Nope, we'll cross that one out. 36 divided by 4 equals 9. Does 9 equal 9? Check. So I know x equals 9 is my solution. But they gave me a third one to check, so we'll check it real quick. 40 divided by 4 equals 9. Does 10 equal 9? Nope, we'll cross that one out. Yes, Lily. Oh, you're right. Thank you. X is 36. Good catch, Lily. Good job. Chance. We'll get to that point, but we're going to take our steps to get there. But yes, you're already a step ahead of us, but we'll get there. So now we're going to do these ones mentally. Again, I don't like this, but I do want you to show that you get your true solution. So B plus 7, what should I put in for B? 5. So here's the work you should have on your paper, Chance. I only say that because I noticed all you did was write the answer. 12 equals 12. We hit check, so I can say that B equals 5. What about for our next one? Xavier, don't lean back in the chair. 23. So let's try that. 10 times 23 equals 230. 230 equals 230. Check. So I know that S equaled 23 was my solution. What about our next one?
9. S equals
9? You know we're subtracting, right? 15. 15 minus 3 equals 12. 12 equals 12. Aiden, did you just go to the bathroom again? Okay, 12 equals 12 is a check, so I know my solution is B equals 15. So I'm trying to underline my answer. It's just not working so well. What about our last one? D divided by 2? 36?
Oh.
So 36 divided by 2 equals 18. 18 equals 18. Check. So I know my solution is D equals 36. Yes. You only have 8 minutes left in class. You can't hold it for 8 minutes? If it's an emergency, I'm not going to make you, but you shouldn't just be leaving every so often. Okay, our next one. Here we're going to write a equation. We're not going to solve them. We're just going to write the equations. So you need to be able to pick out all the words that mean the specific things. There should be a very easy progression from what we did with expressions. The big difference is we're now looking for one word. This is or are, or equals, or something to that effect telling me here's where my expressions are split. So in this case, I've got an orange and a cup of juice are 210 calories. An orange has 90 calories. How many calories does a cup of juice have? So in words, what are we trying to find? How many calories? the juice has, right? So what is the variable that we need to use to figure out that answer? Chance? Do what? No, what variable are we going to use? What's the piece of information I don't know? How many calories a cup of juice has? So what do you want to use for a variable? J? Okay. So J, and what is that J going to equal?
Juice.
What about the juice?
Calories.
What about the calories?
Then how many calories?
Good. So number of calories for juice. Now, looking at what we had written out, how can I do this mathematically? What do I have? An orange and a cup of juice are 210. But I know that the orange is 90. So how could I write this mathematically? Bailey?
110 minus 90.
No. We got to do it the way it's written, guys. Here's the important part. We're translating from English to math. We need to follow the same order. Chance? No. That's not how it's written. No. It's not a negative 90, it's 90. It says 90 and a cup of juice. How do I write that mathematically?
90 plus J equals 210.
Well done, Presley.
Thank you.
Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
90 is the cup of juice. They gave me that, or the orange. The cup of juice, I don't know. That's my variable. R, that's my equal sign, 210. Could I now solve for J?
Yes.
Yes, but we're not going to do that today. Okay, what about our next one? Next one, we got Lake Arrowhead State Park. Has 3 less hiking trails than Irwin Park. Lake Arrowhead Park has 5 hiking trails. How many trails does Irwin Park have? There's our question. So words, what are we trying to find?
How many trails does Irwin Park have?
Okay, trails in Irwin Park. That's Irwin. Okay, so what variable should we use?
T.
T, and use what?
12.
What about the trails? The miles?
How many?
How many? So the number of trails altogether?
Yeah. Probably. In Lake Arrowhead.
In Irwin Park. That's what we're trying to find. That's why we put that in word piece, to make sure we focus in on what we need to know. Because when we know what we need to know, then I can put in a variable for it. Now here's where this one gets tricky, because I have to write it as it was written in English. So Lake Arrowhead Park has 3 less hiking trails than Irwin Park. Less than. What do we call that? Switching phrase. Well done, Lily. Meaning that's going to come after Irwin Park. What do we know about Irwin Park? What did we just call the number of trails at Irwin Park? T. And it's 3 less than that, so that's T minus 3 is 5. Make sense? So Irwin would have had 8. And if you go back, does that make sense? Lake Arrowhead has 3 less than Irwin. We're now saying Irwin has 8. Is 3 less than that 5? So we were right. Okay? Our next one, 7. Even though it's written out in English, we circle it because it's a number. Tickets to the Children's Museum cost $35. How much does 1 ticket cost? So what are we trying to find in words?
How much one ticket costs?
Okay? How much 1 ticket costs? So now I need to set up a variable for that. What variable should we use?
We could use C.
C, okay. And what is C going to be?
The number of money of
What money?
the
Yen?
ticket.
How much is
$35.
Yen?
10.
Dollars? So dollars for
1 ticket.
1 ticket to museum, to be more specific. Okay? So our equation, again, we have to write it the way it was written. We're looking at 7 of those tickets. So how would I write that? 7 times
5.
No,
C equals $35. You guys starting to see how this all works? Okay, let's look at another one. Ground beef is being divided into 4 hamburgers. Each burger is 6 ounces. How many ounces of beef are there altogether? So what are we trying to find?
The ounces of beef in one altogether.
Altogether. So I want beef before being divided. Right? So our variable, what do we use for that?
Oh.
B.
The most just beef.
So B, and what does that B equal?
It equals
Ounces of beef.
4 times because this is divided into
Ounces of beef. So the number, ounces of beef. And what do we know? Ground beef is being divided into 4 hamburgers. Each burger is 6 ounces. So the ground beef is being divided. So B divided by, how many am I dividing? 4. And what do I get?
sorry.
That's a 6. That's why I try to be careful on B's and 6s. Okay. Now I got good news and bad news. Bad news is your homework is finish the packet and we have 1 minute left in class.
What? Yeah.
Good news is you guys have done real well today. So cross that off.
Yes.
And you can cross off those 2. So you don't have to do those first 4. Your homework starts there. So you really don't have that much. There's 4 problems on that page. There are a few. So you're only looking at 10 problems, guys. Really big, important, guys, important note. Pay attention. Aisha, I didn't say pack up yet. Important note. What are the 2 things they want?
Variables and equations.
Do I want a solution?
No.
No. All I want you is to write the equation. You don't have to solve it, okay? Have a good day.
You